Sara, the young adult genre has just exploded. So you, as the WKU Literary Outreach Coordinator, smart person that you are, decided that you were going to kind of capitalize on that and bring it to this area, to this region, with something called the YAS Book Con.
Right.
What's that?
It stands for Young Adult Southern Book Con, and the idea stemmed from a trip that myself and the director of the public library and her young adult librarian took to a similar event called YAL Fest in South Carolina, in Charleston. And YAL Fest is absolutely amazing, but it's a huge sprawling event because of the nature of, the location. And they bring in these just huge name authors that, everyone's reading in the young adult world. And so we thought we could do a smaller scale event, similar in, thought and theme, but bring it to Bowling Green and try to reach our teenage population. Because at the 2017 Book Festival, we had over 500 teenagers show up, and we kind of had this awkward dance where we had these little kids that were trying to go to sessions, and then they would just get run over by this group of teenagers, and of course it was just, we had thousands of kids in one facility. So we thought if we broke it up and did a separate event in the fall, we could kind of get those teenagers, those like-minded teens and middle graders in the same room, with authors that cater more to what they're interested in. So there's less, less questions about, which author do I need to go see.
I'm grinning because to what they're interested in. What are they interested in? Teenage is notoriously a time of angst
and romance.
A time of romance, a time of like finding out who you are.
Yeah, young adult authors are writing a lot about gender identity, contemporary issues. They're writing about Black Lives Matter. A lot of them are getting pretty political, but they're just taking politics and making it more palatable for teenagers.
Or maybe giving it voice that's more palatable. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. So they're taking into account these really, really important issues and bringing them to teens, because we've seen in the last couple years, teenagers are really, they're speaking up a lot more, and what they have to say is often important. So having them be able to speak to an author who's writing about issues that they care about really means something, because they don't get that as often. It's different when it's your English teacher telling you this is important, and then you actually meet the author and it's like, oh, I loved your book,
Yeah, and you can hang with your peers and go check out that author.
Yeah.
Okay, so YAS Book Con is going to take place when?
It's October 19th this year, so it's only on a Friday. And that way we get all the school kids can come in as a field trip, and then the rest of the general public can attend during the day as well. It'll be from 9 to 2 at Crossland Community Church, and they're letting us use their entire facility. It's huge.
How many does it facilitate?
Oh gosh, so many. I'm not.
Thousands?
Yeah, probably over 1,000. So they have kind of two wings. They have the main wing, and then there's another location off to the side. So we'll have all of our food trucks and our costumes and cosplay. But it'll be one, at one location, whereas last year we kind of hopped around. And we're also going to have some events in the evening for adults who read young adult books. So those would be more themed, probably at restaurants, maybe with cocktails. Because
that's a really good point that you just said, because just because it's a young adult title doesn't mean that it's only read by young adults.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so many young adult books are written by people that are in their 20s or 30s. So, it's not like the issues that they bring up are only relevant to teens and middle schoolers. So, sometimes they're kind of cheesy compared to some of the more adult fiction that you typically read, but I have read a handful of young adult and middle grade books, and they're fun. They're fun to read. It's kind of a nice step away from the more kind of hardcore fiction books. Like, I don't read John Grisham and stuff like that. I read literary things, but David Arnold out of Lexington, his book Mosquito Land was definitely written, I felt, more for the upper tier of teenagers. So,
and for parents too, or caregivers who have young adults, it's a great way for them to sort of get a sense of what they're reading, what's out there for sure.
Yeah, and what they're interested in. this year we're bringing in Nick Stone, whose book is about the Black Lives Matter movement, and she lives in Atlanta. She loves to visit with teenagers and kids. She's done school visits pretty much, nonstop since her book came out. And so we're really excited to bring her in. One special thing that we do with YAS Book Con is invite some of the teens and their library media specialists to come to have a special dinner with the author on Thursday night. So it's a really intimate, small environment, small setting, group of people that allows for the teens to talk to the author. And so her book, Dear Martin, has been chosen for our Soki Reads program too. So that begins in August and wraps up into YAS Book Con. So we'll be buying about 500 copies of the book through the Soki Book Fest partnership and distributing them throughout Bowling Green so that we can all read the book together.
There you go, start reading. And as we were talking about in a different episode, hardcover books, even though there was a time when people thought they were going to go away, no, they're on the rise. Ebooks sales are declining, aren't they?
And part of the reason that hardcover books are so popular is because of book festivals where you can go and get the book signed. But the young adult genre is really kind of keeping the publishing industry. It's like got it on its back, And there are so many young adult authors that I've only had a little bit of trouble booking because there's multiple events going on.
Right.
But with the rise in that market of publishing, there's also been a rise in other, events that cater to that audience too. So I'm really glad that Kentucky has one because this is the only young adult festival of its scale in the state so far.
That's what it's called, YAS Book Con. It happens October 19th in Bowling Green. So you're going to tell us, you can find out more information by...
It's yasbookcon.org, and we're beginning to add the author lineup for 2018 on there. Right now it kind of has last year's lineup, but registration will open up hopefully in May, but we will see. Last year I think we got it up in August.
Okay,
so.
hey. You're trying.
Yeah.
You're trying. We've been talking with Sara Volpi, and she is the WKU Literary Outreach Coordinator. She also coordinates the Soki Book Fest and now YAS Book Con. So that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Coffee Near Me. Thanks to Java City on the campus of WKU. Remember to continue the conversation in our comments section. You can follow us on Twitter, find us on Facebook at Coffee Near Me TV. Thanks, Sara.
Thanks.